Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you in the today's session on EduTap. So my dear future NABARD Grade A officers, all of you are welcome in the today's NABARD Grade A revision series session on EduTap, in which we are going to cover the 30 important MCQs of the ESI reports for the month of September 2023. So my dear friends, before starting the session, I want all of you to give me a thumbs up in the chat box if I'm audible and visible to all of you, so that we can begin this particular session. I'm waiting for your responses in the chat box, my dear friends. Hello Nilesh. So as I have got the confirmation for the same, so my dear friends, once again a warm welcome to all of you in the NABARD Grade A revision session series, and in this session we will be covering the ESI reports for the month of September 2023. So before beginning with this particular session, I want to share the whole schedule of this particular series, as today is the 25th of September. So we are covering the reports of the September 2023 in that today's session. So my dear friends, I really believe कि आप सभी की preparations बहुत अच्छी चल रही हैं for the NABARD grade exam. And when I talk about the reports are really very important, and all the students who are new to this particular series, so I really believe that a question must be popping out in your mind, that why exactly these reports and indices are very important from the NABARD grade exam point of view. So why exactly we are covering these reports? The reason is behind that these numbers. In the phase 1 we can see that in the year 2022, 12 marks of the questions were being asked. Phase 2 के अंदर 10 marks of the questions were being asked in the exam. In 2021, phase 1 total 6 marks of questions were there, and in the phase 2, this particular thing, there were 9 marks of the questions were being asked in the exam. So my dear friends, I believe that now it's very much clear to all of you, after seeing that particular weightage of these reports in the previous year questions, in the previous year exams, I believe it is very much understandable for all of you why we are covering these reports and indices. So now let us also give you a fair idea that what kind of questions are being asked in the exam, because अगर questions का हमें पता चलता है, dimensions पता चलती हैं, then it will be very easy for you to cover these reports and indices की जब भी कोई report आपके सामने आएगी तो हमें कौन सी dimensions को देखना है. ठीक है जी. तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं पहला क्वेश्चन इज ऑन द ग्लोबल फूड सिक्योरिटी इंडेक्स, जहां पर पूछा गया है दैट व्हाट वाज द रैंक ऑफ इंडिया इन दैट इंडेक्स. In the second statement, in the second question, the question was on the global gender gap index, and once again India's rank was being asked in the exam. And when I talk about the other important questions, you can see here the question was on the national education policy. The question was on the all India survey on higher education, that really shows that the education sector is really very important to be covered from the exam point of view. So hello Nilesh, Naman, I believe that आप सभी की preparations काफी अच्छी चल रही हैं, and all of you are really excited for the today's session. So let's begin with this particular session with the very first question on the screen. But before that, a small request to all of you, my dear friends, that this is mandatory for all of you to tell me that what exactly as per you are the right answer to the question. I want all of you to commit as much mistakes you can commit in this session, so that there will not be any scope of committing a mistake in the exam. Okay, so here is the very first question for all of you, and the question is on the assessment report on invasive alien species and their control. पहला क्वेश्चन काफी इजियर लाइन पर, दैट इज ऑन द रिलीजिंग बॉडी ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट, और आई कैन से द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विच इज रिलीजिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट. तो सबसे easy question, the very first dimension of the reports and indices: World Bank, Conservation International, Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change, Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, or the Global Growth Green Institute. Quickly tell me what is the right answer in the chat box. So Rohit, Naman, Nilesh, Sridevi, Stonewall, everybody is saying option D is the right answer. That is absolutely right. Intergovernmental Platform on the Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services is the name of that body which has come up with this particular report, which is titled as the Assessment Report on Invasive Alien Species and Their Control. Absolutely right, Prashant, Yukta, Naman, all of you have given me the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. So as per this report, there is a presence of approximately how many number of alien species which are introduced by human activities. तो यहाँ पर इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर इट इज आस्किंग कि कितने ऐसे एलियन स्पीशीज हैं जिसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया है ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज की वजह से, जिनका इंट्रोडक्शन हुआ है अक्रॉस द वेरियस रीजन्स एंड बायोम्स. तो व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली दैट पर्टिकुलर नंबर? दैट नंबर इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट, 37,000. तो आप देख सकते हैं टोटल 37,000 एलियन स्पीसीज इंट्रोड्यूस हुए हैं बाय द ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज. और अगर हम देखें इन 37,000 में से 3,500 can be classified as invasive alien species which are posing severe threats to the local ecosystem. About 6% of the alien plants, 22% of the alien invertebrates, and 14% of the alien vertebrates are there. And now, my dear friends, another important point, that total of at least 218 invasive alien species have been responsible for more than 1200 local extinctions. So these are the numbers that I have marked here that you are required to cover from the exam point of view. Let's move on to the next question. So the next question is on the economic cost. See, whatever the impact of these invasive alien species is there, so this particular impact can always be quantified in terms of the economic cost. So the other question is on the global economic cost of invasive alien species exceeded dash annually in 2019. So what is that particular amount, my dear friends? Quickly tell me in the chat box. So my dear friends, quickly tell me what is the right answer. What is that particular value which is the economic cost for these invasive alien species? What is it? It is total of $423 billion. Okay, so total $423 billion is the global economic cost of the invasive alien species. And when I talk about these annual costs, they have basically increased. How much they have increased? They have quadrupled. That means they have converted to 4 times since 1970 as the global trade and human travel has increased. So that is basically the reason that why exactly these costs are basically increasing since 1970. Since 1970 to 2019, it has become 4 times. Okay, 4x is the right answer. Absolutely right. So my dear friends, let's move on to the next question. So अगला question, you are required to identify the incorrect statement from these 3 statements which are mentioned here. आपके सामने 3 statements दी गई हैं. So please मुझे बताइए कि क्या है इस question का सही answer. The question is once again on the report, that is assessment report on invasive alien species and their control. So what is the right answer? The very first statement says that the most common impact of the alien invasive species is the reduction of the food supply. That means कि जो सबसे ज़्यादा common impact है in invasive species का, that is the reduction of the food supply. जो food supply है हमारी उसमें reduction हुई है. Most negative impacts are reported on the marine ecosystems. World's most widespread invasive alien species on land is lantana, which is a flowering shrub. So my dear friends, quickly tell me what is the right answer. What is exactly the correct option for this question number 4? So here the 3 statements are being given, and from here we can see that option number 2 and 3, the statement 2 and 3 are absolutely incorrect. So what will be the right answer here? Let me tell you the statement number 3. It says that world's most widespread invasive alien species on land is lantana. But my dear friends, it is the water hyacinth which is the world's most widespread invasive alien species on the land. And when I talk about the most negative impacts, the most negative impact was basically reported on the land, that was about 75%. But in the question it is being mentioned as the marine ecosystem, and that is why the statement 2 and 3 are absolutely incorrect. And the right answer here is option D, that is both 2 and 3. I can see here that all the people have given me the right answer. Absolutely right, Yukta. Earlier that was a trend that if you remember just the approx values, you will be able to answer the question correctly. But nowadays the trend is being changing, and so we have to change as per the changing trends of the exam. Now let's move on to the next question. The next question is once again on the same report, and 3 statements are being mentioned. You have to identify this time the correct statement as per the assessment report on invasive alien species and their control. तो यहाँ पर अगर हम देखते हैं अपनी पहली statement को, it says about the annual cost of invasive alien species that it has increased, quadrupled every decade since 1970. Second statement says that no country have included targets related to managing invasive alien species. ऐसी कोई country नहीं है जिसने include किया ऐसे targets. Third statement says out of 37,000 alien species, 22% are the alien invertebrates. So you have to go through the statements, you have to see which of the following fact has been mentioned incorrectly, and then you have to identify which statement is correct. So I can see here that to the question number 5, most of the people are saying option C or D. So there is a confusion between option C and D. All the people जिन्होंने दिया है option C right answer, that is absolutely right. अपने अपने अकाउंट में आप +1 मार्क को जोड़ लीजिए from the exam point of view, because आपने दिया है क्वेश्चन का एकदम सही आंसर. So यहाँ पर अगर हम देखते हैं कि what is exactly the incorrect part in the statement number 2. It says that there is no country which have included targets, but let me tell you, my dear friends, that most countries, that means 80% of the countries, have included the targets which are related to managing invasive and alien species, and that is why the statement number 2 is absolutely incorrect and the statement 1 and 3 are correct. तो ये जो quadruple वाला जो point है, we have already covered in the previous question. जब हम बात करते हैं statement 3 की, it says that 22% are the alien invertebrates, and that is absolutely right. अगर हम बात करें पूरे composition की, of these 37,000 alien species, so 6% are alien plants, 22% of the alien invertebrates, 14% of alien vertebrates, and 11% of the alien microbes. So these are the right answers. These are the things that we have to cover from the exam point of view. I can see here, so Stonewall, Nirmal, Prashant, Nilesh, Shalini, Sridevi, Rohit, everybody has given me the right answer. Now guys, let's move on to the next question on the same report. So basically there are 5 major direct drivers of biodiversity loss globally, and you have to identify that which of the following is not one of them. इसमें से वो कौन सा driver है जो कि इसका part नहीं है? That is what you have to identify here. So 5 options are being given: invasive alien species, land and sea use change, increase in human population, direct exploitation of the organisms, and the pollution. So my dear friends, quickly tell me which of the following does not belong to those 5 major direct drivers of the biodiversity loss globally. So what is the right answer here? The right answer here is option C, increase in human population. तो जब हम देखते हैं कि वो 5 ऐसे कौन से मेजर डायरेक्ट ड्राइवर्स हैं, यू कैन सी हियर दैट इंक्लूड्स इन्वेजिव एलियन स्पीशीज, land and sea use change, direct exploitation of the organisms, climate change, and the pollution. So these are basically the 5 major direct drivers of the biodiversity loss globally, and that is why that is the right answer. Let's move on to the next question from a very important report. The report name is Swachh Vayu Sarvekshan 2023, and the report, the very first question is on the very important line, that is the releasing body of this particular report. So what is the name of that body which has basically come up with this particular report? What is it? It is the Central Pollution Control Board, Niti Aayog, Environmentalist Foundation of India, Center for Environment Education, or the Greenpeace India. So what is the right answer? So here Rohit, Shalini, Sridevi, Preeti, Yukta, Prashant, Padmini, Stonewall, everybody saying option A is the right answer. Absolutely right. You have already given me the right answer. तो ये जो organization है, it basically works under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and the Climate Change. जब हम बात करते हैं इस रिपोर्ट की, ये रैंक करती है cities को on the basis of their air quality, उनकी air quality के ऊपर, और जो इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं एक्टिविटीज को विच आर अप्रूव्ड अंडर द सिटी एक्शन प्लान, और ये जो सिटी एक्शन प्लान है विच इज अंडर द नेशनल क्लीन एयर प्रोग्राम. ओके, एंड दिस हैज बीन डन इन द टोटल ऑफ 131 नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज. अब यहां से आपके माइंड में क्वेश्चन आ रहा होगा दैट व्हाट आर दीज 131 नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटी, ये कौन से 131 नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज हैं? तो वो सिटीज, उन सिटीज को हम डिक्लेयर करते हैं एज अ नॉन अटेनमेंट इफ ओवर अ 5 पीरियड दे कंसिस्टेंटली डू नॉट मीट द नेशनल एम्बिएंट एयर क्वालिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ पार्टिकुलेट मैटर 10 और NO2. तो अगर 5 साल से लगातार 5 साल से ज्यादा अगर ये सिटीज इन सभी कंडीशंस को मीट नहीं करते हैं, देन दे आर बीइंग कॉल्ड एज द नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज, एंड टोटल 131 नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज हैं एट प्रेजेंट. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन है दैट this particular report ranks cities on the basis of air quality. It assessed the cities on 8 major points. Okay, so 8 major points के across उन्होंने इनको किया है, and you have to tell me that which of the following is not one of them. इसमें से वो कौन सा ऐसा पैरामीटर है, वो ऐसा कौन सा मेजर पॉइंट है जो कि बिलोंग नहीं करता है. So my dear friends, let me tell you that this is the question from the second dimension of the report, that is the about section of the report, the dimensions which are being used in that particular part. Okay, so this is the question number 8. What is the right answer? What is that particular parameter which is not one of them which is being used here to assess the cities? And it is improvement in the 2.5 PM concentrations. I can see all the people are giving me the right answer to the option number 8. That is option C is the right answer. तो यहाँ पर अगर हम देखते हैं कि वो 8 major points कौन कौन से हैं जिनको इस्तेमाल किया गया है to assess the air quality in these particular cities. These includes control of biomass, municipal solid waste burning, road dust, dust from the construction and demolition waste, vehicular emissions, industrial emissions, public awareness, and the improvement in PM10 concentration. But in the question, it was mentioned as PM2.5 concentration, and that is why it became the incorrect part. Let me tell you, my dear friends, that there a criteria is also being used for the assessment of these cities. These cities have been divided across three categories: category 1, 2, and category 3. The category 1 is those cities which are having the population of 10 lakh plus, that is more than 10 lakh, and such kind of cities are total 47. When I talk about the category 2, they are those cities which are having the population between 3 to 10 lakhs, and there were total number of 44 such cities. The category 3, the population of those cities which is under 3 lakh, which is less than 3 lakh, and the total number of cities are total 40 under this particular part. So my dear friend, these criteria is also very important. Let me tell you that a question on these criterias will be asked in the upcoming part of this particular session. So make sure that you are just seeing these details very carefully here. Okay, let's move on to the next question of this question of the report. Which one of the following cities is not at the top 5 in the category first? I told you that there are total 3 categories. तो आपके सामने question है कि category 1 के अंदर top 5 में कौन सी city नहीं है. Let me tell you, as per the changing trends, you are not just required to remember the top performer. You're not just required to cover the top performer. Instead, आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि top 5 में कौन कौन है. Top 5 आपको cover करना काफी जरूरी है, क्योंकि as per the changing trends of the exam, we have seen that now top 5 performers are being asked in the exam. Okay, so here my dear friends, quickly identify the name of that city which is not in the top 5 category list, and it is Agartala. So let's see that which one of the following are there. So you can see here on the top it was Indore, followed by Agra, Thane, Srinagar, and Bhopal. And when I talk about the last city, it was Madurai, which was on the 44th position. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now let's move on to the next question. So next question is here on the screen. The question, once again, you are required to identify the incorrect statement here of these 3 statements. The question number 1, sorry, the statement number 1. Indore has secured first rank in the first category, that we have already covered that. Yes, it is right. Amravati has secured the first rank in the second category, and Kala Aam secured the first rank in the third category. You have to identify that which statement is incorrect here. यहाँ पर कौन सी वो city है जिसकी ranking incorrectly mention की गई है. And let me tell you that the questions on these lines are being asked in the exam. इसलिए आपको ऐसे questions को cover करना काफी जरूरी है. और यहाँ पर अगर हम बात करते हैं incorrect statement की, तो option C, that is only statement third, is incorrect. Why so? Because Kalam has secured first rank in the third category. This statement is absolutely incorrect. Why so? Because it was the Parvanu which was on the top in the third category of this. When I talk about the second category, it was Amravati on the top. In the first category, we have already covered that Indore was on the top. Okay, so first category Indore was on the top, second category Amravati was on the top, and the third category Parvanu was on the top. जब हम बात करते हैं काला आम की, so it was basically on the second position, and that is the right answer to this particular question. So I hope that this is clear to all of you, my dear friends. I can see here that Preeti, Mohit, Rohit, जीवन, श्रीदेवी, नीलेश, all of you have given me the right answer. Well done guys. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन है from the same report, and once again you are required to identify the incorrect statement from these statements which are mentioned here. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन, as I told you that there is a question on the categories of these particular cities. तो पहली statement है category 1 के ऊपर, that it is having the population more than 10 lakhs. Category 2 considers the cities having population between 3 lakh and 10 lakhs. Category 3 considers the cities having the population under 3 lakhs. So what is the right answer here? What is the statement that is incorrectly mentioned here? I told you that the categories are very important. Basically this question is on the second dimension of the report, that is about part, that what exactly the report is assessing. What are the different parameters used? What are the different categories as per which these particular cities have been divided? So what is it? That means, my dear friends, as per the question, as per the statements which are mentioned here, so all these statements which are mentioned here are absolutely correct, and the right answer here is none of the above. That is option E is the right answer. As I told you, category 1 population more than 10 lakh, category 2 population between 3 to 10 lakh, and category 3, that is under 3 lakh population of that particular city should be there. I hope this is clear to all of you, my dear friends. Let's move on to the next question. Next question is on the screen on the 2023 Trade Finance Gap Growth and Jobs Survey. तो ये रिपोर्ट रिलीज की गई है जो हमें बताती है ट्रेड फाइनेंसिंग गैप्स के बारे में, एंड यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द नेम ऑफ द बॉडी विच रिलीजेस दिस रिपोर्ट. लेट मी गिव यू अ स्मॉल हिंट दैट द headquarter of that particular body is basically in Manila, Philippines. So my dear friends, quickly tell me what is the name of that body which releases this report. Question number 12. The right answer here is option A, that is Asian Development Bank. Absolutely right, Shridevi Prashant Jeevan. The right answer is Asian Development Bank. और जब हम बात करते हैं इस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट की, तो ये बेसिकली एक वर्ल्ड का लीडिंग बैरोमीटर है ऑफ द ट्रेड फाइनेंस हेल्थ. ओके, and basically ये reflect करता है over 60% of the global market. That is why it is highly effective and it really shows the results about these trade financing gaps which are there across the world. And यहाँ पर my dear friends बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन is basically on the main key crux of this particular report, and the crux of the report is the global trade finance gap. तो global trade finance gap as per this report of the ADB वो कितना increase हुआ है? Earlier it was 1.7 trillion, but what is the new number here? That is what you have to tell me here. So quickly tell me what is the right answer to the question number 13. The right answer to the question number 13 is 2.5 trillion dollars. Option B is the right answer. तो आप देख सकते हैं कि this year it is 2.5 trillion. Earlier it was 1.7 trillion dollars in 2020, and you can see here that it has grew by 47%. And what are the different reasons behind that? What are the different reasons behind the increase in the trade finance gap? The reasons are rising interest rates, flagging economic prospects, geopolitical volatility. So these are the three reasons behind which are responsible for the increase in the global trade finance gap in year 2022. I hope this is clear to all of you. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. So अगला क्वेश्चन is on the same report. The question is basically on the difference between the request and proposal. See my dear friends, जब ये ट्रेड फाइनेंस गैप होता है ये कब होता है? जब रिक्वेस्ट जो दी जाती है फाइनेंसिंग के लिए और जितने अप्रूवल्स होते हैं उसके बीच में जो गैप होता है उसको हम कहते हैं द ट्रेड फाइनेंस गैप. ओके, तो यहां पर आपके सामने क्वेश्चन है कि ये जो डिफरेंस है रिक्वेस्ट और प्रपोजल के बीच में फॉर फाइनेंसिंग टू सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट्स एंड एक्सपोर्ट्स, ये कितना इंक्रीज हुआ है, ये कितना ग्रू हुआ है? दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई हियर. तो वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दैट इट वाज 1.7 ट्रिलियन डॉलर इन 2020 एंड इट इंक्रीज टू 2.5 trillion dollar. But what exactly is that difference? That difference is of 47%, as I have already told you in the previous slide that it has grew by 47%. We have already covered this particular point here, my dear friends. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is on the 2023 Trade Finance Gap Growth and Job Survey, the same report that we have discussed, and this time you are required to identify the correct statement which are being mentioned here. तो यहाँ पर जो statements mention की गई हैं उसमें से identify कीजिए कि कौन सी statement correct है. सबसे पहली statement, it says that the global trade finance gap is 2022 was 2.5 trillion dollar. That is absolutely right as per the discussion that we had on this report. Statement 2 says the global goods exports grew by 26.6% in 2021. Statement 3 says जो top supply chain challenge है in the according to the firms was insufficient financing. तो सबसे बड़ा supply chain का challenge है वो कौन सा रहा है? That is insufficient financing. That means financing जो है वो अच्छी नहीं हो पा रही है. So what is the right answer to the question number 15? What is that particular option which is correct? So the right answer here is option D, that is all of the above statements are absolutely correct. So हम ये दो statements तो देख ही चुके हैं, अब हम बाकी की statements को भी जल्दी से देख लेते हैं my dear friends. तो आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं अगर हम बात करते हैं top supply chain challenge की, it was insufficient financing. And when I talk about that the barrier to business for 2023 and 24 it was access to financing was 22% and economic uncertainty की बात करते हैं तो it was 23%. and with this we have just covered this particular part. अगर हम बात करते हैं तीन वो most important component of a resilient supply chain, अगर एक resilient supply chain है तो उसके तीन important component क्या होने चाहिए to make it more stronger and resilient? What these are access to adequate financing की तरफ जो एक एडिक्वेट फाइनेंसिंग का एक्सेस होना चाहिए उनके पास, रिलायबल लॉजिस्टिक्स होने चाहिए ऑन विच दे कैन डिपेंड अपॉन, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल अच्छा किया हो जाना चाहिए बिकॉज डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन नाउअडेज. सो दीज आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थ्री कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ द रेजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन इज ऑन द वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिपोर्ट दैट इज प्रोग्रेस ऑन सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स, द जेंडर स्नैपशॉट 2023 रिपोर्ट. ओके, तो जल्दी जल्दी बताइए कि कौन सी वो रिलीजिंग बॉडी है जो रिलीज करती है इस रिपोर्ट को, द प्रोग्रेस ऑन सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स. तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स की ऊपर जो ये रिपोर्ट है, what is the name of that body which releases this report? So it is option D, that is United Nations Women is the right answer. Now my dear friends, there is a question for all of you. Can you tell me how many sustainable development goals are there? कितने sustainable development goals हैं that we are having? Absolutely right. There are 17 sustainable development goals. Can you tell me the year by which we are targeting to achieve them? By the year by which we are targeting to achieve the sustainable development goals, what is the target year? The target year is 2030. Absolutely right. Okay. Can you tell me, my dear friends, that what exactly is that year by which India aims to become net zero carbon emission country? What is that year by which India aims to become net zero carbon emission country? What is that particular timeline? That is 2070. Absolutely right. 2070 is the right answer. That was basically being announced in the COP26 by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Absolutely right here. All the people have given me the right answer. I'm really glad to see your answers here. So अब हम बात करें अगर इस रिपोर्ट की, इस रिपोर्ट को रिलीज किया है यूनाइटेड नेशंस वुमेन ने along with the यूनाइटेड नेशंस डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल अफेयर्स. ये एक एनुअल रिपोर्ट है. ये क्या प्रोवाइड करती है? ये हमें बताती है अबाउट द जेंडर इक्वालिटी प्रोग्रेस. जो जेंडर इक्वालिटी की तरह हम बात करते हैं तो उसमें कितनी प्रोग्रेस हुई अक्रॉस 17 सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स. दैट इज द रीजन आई आस्क्ड यू अबाउट द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स. Now my dear friends, let me tell you that we have also read in the previous months about the global gender gap report. Okay, the global gender gap report. Can anybody tell me that how many countries are there who have achieved the gender parity as per the global gender gap report? क्या कोई मुझे बता सकता है इसके बारे में? What is the number of countries who have achieved the global gender who has achieved the gender parity as per the global gender gap report? Absolutely right, Nilesh, Prashant, Jeevan, Rohit, that there is no country in the world which has achieved that particular feat. Can you tell me the name of that country which was on the top in the global gender gap index? Can anybody tell me the name of the country which was on the top in the global gender gap index? What is the name of that country? That was Iceland, and that highest achieving the country was having a score of 91.2. So you can see here that Iceland is on the top with 91.2. That means there is no country which is have achieved 100% gender parity. And this is the report that I'm talking about. It was being released by the World Economic Forum. Okay, so these are the other details that we have covered, some additional report in this particular session. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन आप सभी के सामने है. If the current trend of progress continue, over 340 million women and girls will still live in extreme poverty. ये रिपोर्ट बताती है कि अगर जो करंट ट्रेंड है प्रोग्रेस का, जो हमारी करंट पेस है इस प्रोग्रेस की ऑफ द जेंडर पैरिटी, अगर यही कंटिन्यू होती है तो 340 मिलियन वुमेन एंड गर्ल्स they will be living in extreme poverty. But by which year it is talking about in this report? That is what you have to tell me. By 2030, 35, 25, 40, 45. What is the right answer? So as per the report, it is the 2030. By 2030, basically it is the important part. So you can see here from that sustainable development goal number 1, that is no poverty. अगर यही trend continue रहता है तो over 340 million women and girls will still live in the extreme poverty by year 2030. Okay, so that 2030 is the right answer, and progress will need to be 26 times faster. अगर हमें ये जो गोल है हमारा नो पावर्टी का 2030 तक अचीव करना है तो हमें अपनी जो स्पीड है उसको 26 टाइम्स increase करना होगा in order to achieve this particular target. Apart from that, when I talk about the sustainable development goal number 2, that is the zero hunger, as per the report, by year 2030, 1 in every 4 women and girls, that means 25% of the women and girls will face moderate to severe food insecurity, and that is really a alarming situation that is emerging in the upcoming future generations. Now my dear friends, if we are going to close the gender gap in the agri-food system, it can reduce food security and add nearly $1 trillion to the global GDP. Let me tell you that we have already covered this particular part in also another important report, that is the status of women in agri-food system. Status of women in agri-food system, जिसके अंदर हमने पढ़ा था that there are 36% women whose livelihood are basically dependent on these agri-food system. There are 38% men whose livelihood is basically dependent on the agri-food system, and these findings were basically from that status of agri food system, status of women in agri food system report, and this particular finding is also being taken from that particular report only. Let's move on to the next question, guys. So अगला question आप सभी के सामने है that girls have outperformed boys in the school completion at all education levels, yet completion rate still falls short of the 100%. While dash percent of the girls have completed the upper secondary schooling and the figure for boys is dash. So basically you have to identify that what exactly is the number of girls जिन्होंने complete किया अपनी upper secondary schooling को, and you have also to identify the percentage of boys for this particular part. What is it? So 60% of the girls have completed upper secondary schooling, and when I talk about this particular figure for the boys, it is going to be 57%. That is option E. 57% is the right answer to this question. Okay, so here my dear friends, you can see in the sustainable development goal number 4, that is related to the quality education, girls have outperformed boys in the school completion. जब हम बात करते हैं upper secondary schooling की, तो उसमें 60% of the girls have completed, and boys की हम बात करें, they are only 57%. जब हम बात करते हैं good health and well-being, that is the sustainable development goal number 3, तो यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं that the maternal mortality has dropped by 1/3 from 2000 to 2020. That means 2000 से 2020 तक की अगर हम बात करें, that was a reduction of 33% in the maternal mortality. Okay, earlier you can see here going from 339 to 223 deaths per 1 lakh live births, but progress has stagnated since 2015. That is the important thing that we have to cover from here. Let's move on to the next question, guys. So the next question, the 3 statements are being given on the same report, that is progress on sustainable development goals, the gender snapshot 2023, and you have to tell me that which of the following statements which are mentioned here are correct. So quickly tell me my dear friends, what is the right answer. The very first statement says that extra $360 billion की हमें जरूरत पड़ने वाली है in order to achieve gender equality and women empowerment. Second statement says that 60% countries ऐसी हैं जो लैक करती हैं ऐसी comprehensive gender equality laws को, which includes equal marriages and the divorce rights. Apart from that, the third statement says all of the goal 5 indicators are at target met or almost met. So my dear friends, you have to identify the correct statement from these particular statements mentioned here about this report, and the right answer here is only option 1 is correct. That is a 360 billion amount is really required to achieve the gender equality. But what is the wrong part in the statement 2 and 3? Let's try to identify that. The statement 3 says all of the goal 5 indicators are at target met or almost met. But my dear friends, let me tell you, as per the report, there is none of the goal 5 indicators which is at the target met or almost met category, and that is why this is absolutely incorrect. Second statement says that 60% of the countries lack comprehensive gender equality laws, but as per the report, 54% of the countries lack comprehensive gender equality laws. That is why the statement 2 and 3 are absolutely incorrect, and the statement 1 is absolutely right. I can see here that for this question, Rohit, Nilesh, Jeevan, Prashant and Preeti Maurya have all of them have given me the right answer, absolutely right. So this is the right answer, guys. Apart from that, when I talk about some other important findings from this particular sustainable development goal of the gender equality, this report says अगर हम बात करते हैं next generation of women की, they will still devote an average of 2.3 more daily hours to unpaid care and domestic work as compared to the men. And women globally hold only 26.7% of the parliamentary seats, 35% in the local government, and 28.2% of the management positions in the workplace. So my dear friends, I hope that these particular details about this particular goal of this report is very much clear to all of you. ये आप सभी को एकदम क्लियर हो चुका है. अब हम बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगले क्वेश्चन में once again there are 4 statements on the same report and you have to identify the correct statement here. तो पहली statement कहती है the universal electricity access, it can lift 185 million women and girls out of poverty by 2050. That means 2050 तक अगर हम यूनिवर्सल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सेस प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उससे क्या होगा, 185 मिलियन वुमेन दे विल कम आउट ऑफ द पॉवर्टी. सेकंड स्टेटमेंट सेज 2022 के अंदर 27% ऑफ द इंटरनेशनल पेटेंट इन्वेंटर्स वर वुमेन while men accounted for 73% only. Third statement says that the climate change induced food insecurity is expected to affect an additional 236 million women and girls. That means जो climate change की वजह से जो food insecurity induce होती है हमारी society के अंदर, उससे क्या होगा, it is going to affect 236 million women and girls. Fourth statement says the 30% of the countries are on the track to eliminate intimate partner violence. So यहाँ पर 4 statement आपके सामने mentioned है. You have to tell me what is the right answer, which statement is correct here. So यहाँ पर मैं आपको बता दूं that it is statement second and fourth which is absolutely incorrect, and the statement 1 and 3rd are absolutely correct. So what exactly is the incorrect part in the statement 2 and 3? See, statement 2 says that in 2022 अगर हम बात करते हैं पेटेंट इन्वेंटर्स की तो 27% वर वुमेन while men accounted for 73%. Okay, so that is basically mentioned here in this particular part. Okay, but when I talk about the finding of the sustainable development goal number 9, that is industry innovation and infrastructure, this 17% ही इंटरनेशनल पेटेंट इन्वेंटर्स हैं जो कि विमेन थी एंड 83% आर मेन. बट मैं आपको बता दूं कि यहाँ पर डेटा के साथ कोई छेड़छाड़ की गई है और ऐसी ही छेड़छाड़ आपको एग्जाम के अंदर देखने को मिल सकती है. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल व्हाइल आंसरिंग सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन द एग्जाम. अगर हम बात करते हैं बाकी फोर्थ स्टेटमेंट के, इट सेज कि 30% कंट्रीज ऐसी हैं जो कि ऑन ट्रैक है टू एलिमिनेट intimate partner violence. But my dear friends, let me tell you, as per this particular report, when we talk about the violence, so here you can see that there is no country which is on track to eliminate intimate partner violence, and that is why basically such kind of data has been mentioned to all of you. Let me tell you that such kind of statements were being asked also in the RB grade B officer exam, and that is why you have to basically focus on such kind of data which are being mentioned here in this particular report. So I hope that all these particular things have already been clear to all of you. अब हम जल्दी से SDG 6 और 7 को डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. SDG 6 is related to the clean water and sanitation. 380 million women and girls हैं जो कि अभी भी रह रही हैं high और critical water stress conditions, and this number is expected to rise to 674 million by 2050. When I talk about the SDGs number 7, that is affordable and clean energy, तो यूनिवर्सल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सेस है अगर हम प्रोवाइड करें तो 185 मिलियन गर्ल्स एंड वुमेन को हम निकाल सकते हैं पॉवर्टी से, जो कि हम ऑलरेडी कवर कर चुके हैं. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू. तो श्रीदेवी इज आस्किंग सर एग्जाम में इतना डेप्थ पूछते हैं क्या? सी, एज पर द करंट ट्रेंड श्रीदेवी, सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आर बीइंग आस्क्ड, एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी एट EduTap we just want to make sure that we will make you that much ready that if the questions are being asked even in these kind of depth level, then you will be able to answer such kind of questions in the exam. So we want you to ready. Are you guys want to become ready for such kind of questions that can be asked in the exam? Instead of getting surprised in the exam, I think it will be good if we will surprise you with such kind of questions in these sessions only. Okay, I hope your doubt is clear, Sridevi. Let's move on to the next question. Agla question is basically on a very easier lines from a very private sector report, and the question here is on the best countries rankings, and this particular report has been launched by US News and the World Report. So my dear friends, the question is कौन सी वो country है which has not made up to the top 5 positions in the list? Let me tell you, my dear friends, that in the RB grade B officer phase 1 exam, they have very frequently asked about the top 5 positions कि कौन सी वो स्टेट है या सिटी है या कंट्री है जो टॉप 5 में थी या कौन सी है जो नहीं थी. तो इसके लिए आपको ऐसे क्वेश्चंस के लिए रेडी रहना पड़ेगा एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, बिकॉज सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम. सो व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन? द राइट आंसर हियर इज नॉर्वे, दैट इज ऑप्शन ई. नॉर्वे इज द राइट आंसर. Basically you are required to answer the tell me that particular country which has not made up to the top 5 positions in the list. और जब हम बात करते हैं top 5 positions in the list की, तो it was basically taken by Switzerland. On the second position it was Canada, third position Sweden, fourth position Australia, and the fifth position it was USA. और जब हम बात करते हैं इंडिया की, when we talk about India guys, India was on the 30th position in this particular rankings. अगली question from the same part, my dear friends, please tell me the right answer. The next question is basically as per the report, Japan, Singapore, China, and South Korea, they are in the top 25. Can you tell me what was India's rank in this ranking? See, I have just told you what is India's rank. Question number 2020. Question number 22. What is the right answer? The right answer is option B, that is 30th. I already told you that India's rank is 30th in this particular ranking, the best countries rankings, which is being launched by the US News and World Reports. So Saurima, Sridevi, Prashant, Stonewall, Preeti, Rohit Ganga, Nilesh, all the people have given me the right answer to this question, that is 30th. Let's move on to the next question. The next report here is the world's best companies of 23 by Time and Statista. So Time and Statista is the name of that organization which has launched this report. Report का नाम है World Best Company of 23. तो आपके सामने क्वेश्चन है कि वो कौन सी कंपनी है once again, which was not there in the top 5 of the list as per the report. What is the name of that company? Is it Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta Platform, Amazon and Accenture? What is the right answer, guys? So let me tell you that it is option D, Amazon, which is the right answer, which was not there in this particular list. So कौन सी वो कंपनीज हैं जो कि इस लिस्ट के अंदर हैं? You can see here that on the top it was Microsoft, followed by Apple on the second position, Alphabet was on the third, Meta Platforms on the fourth and the Accenture was on the fifth position. और जब हम बात करते हैं इंडियन कंपनीज के अंदर टॉप 100 के अंदर Infosys was on the 64th position. When I talk about the Wipro, it was 174th rank. तो यहां पर मैं आपको बता दूं आपके लिए क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है. सबसे पहले ये टॉप 5 कंट्रीज को याद कीजिए. उसके बाद आपके लिए जो चीज है दैट इज द इंडिया के अंदर वो कौन सी कंपनी थी जो टॉप में थी. ओके, एंड विप्रो उसके बाद सेकंड नंबर पे अगर हम बात करें, इट वाज विप्रो ऑन द सेकंड पोजीशन. सो दीज आर द डिटेल्स दैट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर फ्रॉम द एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. सो हियर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज ऑन द सेम लाइन. यू हैव टू टेल मी द नेम ऑफ दैट ओनली इंडियन कंपनी which was able to secure its name in the top 100 of the list. तो top 100 की लिस्ट में वो कौन सी कंपनी है which was there as per this report? We have already told you that it was Infosys which was there on the 64th position. So Infosys is the right answer. That is question number 24. Option A is the right answer to this particular question. Absolutely right, my dear friends. That is the right answer. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. The next question is on the report that is 2023 Global Crypto Adoption Index. And this index has been launched by the chain analysis. तो आपके सामने क्वेश्चन है कि वो इंडिया ने कितनी सिक्योर के अंदर पोजीशन among the 154 nations. On a very easier line, the question is this, that what is India's rank in the 2023 Global Crypto Adoption Index? So what is the right answer to this question? So right answer is basically India was on the top in this particular ranking. You can see here that India was on the top. It was followed by Nigeria on the second, Vietnam on the third and USA on the fourth position, followed by Ukraine on the fifth position. इस रिपोर्ट को रिलीज किसने किया है? रिपोर्ट को रिलीज किया चेन एनालिसिस ने, एंड द नेम ऑफ द रिपोर्ट इज 2023 ग्लोबल क्रिप्टो अडॉप्शन इंडेक्स. So India is on the top. India is on the top in this report and that is why you are really required to remember this particular data. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. The अगला क्वेश्चन is on the fifth digital quality of life index by the Surfshark and आपको बताना है कि वो कौन सी कंट्री है which was not in the top 5 in the index. You can see here, guys, that most of the questions have been framed on these lines. Only the reason behind that is such kind of questions have been repeatedly asked in the RBI Grade B Officer Phase 1 exam this year. That means the trend is changing. So let me tell you, in this session I have brought the questions on the both the kind of trends, that is the changing trend which we have seen in the RBI Grade B Officer exam, and also the questions, the kind of questions which are being asked in the previous year exam of the NABARD grade exam, and that is why they are really very important to be covered. When I talk about the right answer here, guys, it is the Sweden which was not the part. जब हम बात करते हैं top 5 की, it was top on the France, Finland था second position पे, followed by Denmark, Germany and Luxembourg in the third, fourth and fifth position. And the most important thing is India's ranking. India की ranking सबसे ज़्यादा important है. And what was India's rank? India's rank was 52nd in this particular index, and in the last year India's ranking was 59th in this particular index. Absolutely right. So Sridevi, Rohit, Prashant, Sorima, Preeti, Jeevan, all the people have given me the right answer. Absolutely right. जब हम बात करते हैं इस इंडेक्स की, तो this index was basically based on the 5 core pillars, sorry. And what are exactly are these pillars? These are internet quality, internet affordability, e-security, e-infrastructure and the e-government. So my dear friends, we always know that we are talking about the digital quality of life की डिजिटल लाइफ जो हमारी उसकी क्वालिटी कैसी है. तो उसके लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या है? सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है इंटरनेट क्वालिटी. अगर हमारा इंटरनेट अच्छा नहीं होगा तो अभी जो हम लाइव सेशन ले रहे हैं तो वो भी इतना अच्छे से नहीं हो पाएगा. आप वो चीजें नहीं देख पाएंगे जो मैं आपको दिखाना चाहता हूं, जो मैं क्वेश्चंस आपके को सॉल्व कराना चाहता हूं. यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू सॉल्व सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. Second thing is, अगर हम उसको अफोर्ड ही नहीं कर सकते, then also it is of no use. So that is why internet affordability is also very important. Then security is also very important because अगर कोई हमारे अगर आप कोई मान लीजिए कोई चीज चला रहे हैं इंटरनेट के थ्रू और कोई आपके सिस्टम को हैक कर लेता है, then the very private files of yours or the very valuable information of yours can easily be taken, can easily be stolen from your system. So that is why these are the 5 pillars that we have to see, and these are very easy to understand from the exam point of view. बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ. अगला क्वेश्चन है from a very important report. The report is the global trend in child mortality, child monetary poverty, and according to the international poverty lines. So my dear friends, the very first question on the very easier line, and the very first question here is basically on the dimension, that is the releasing body of the report. So please tell me the name of that organization which has come up with this particular report. क्या है इस organization का नाम जिसने इस report को release किया है? The right answer is World Bank Group. So basically World Bank Group ने इस report को release किया है along with the UNICEF. So UNICEF and World Bank दोनों ने इस report को collectively release किया है, and this is the third such assessment by the agencies. ओके, आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू. जो हम बात करते हैं इस रिपोर्ट की, ये रिपोर्ट प्रेजेंट करती है एस्टिमेटेड ट्रेंड्स इन द चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी फ्रॉम 2013 टू 2022. दैट मींस हमें चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी के ऊपर काफी डेटा देखने को मिलने वाला है इस रिपोर्ट के आने वाले क्वेश्चंस के अंदर. So my dear friends, quickly tell me the right answer to the next question. We are here on the question number 28. Quickly tell me that as per the report, the children comprised of what percentage of the extreme poor, that is which increased from 47.3% in 2013. तो 47.3 से बढ़कर वो कितना हुआ है, ये आपको मुझे बताना है चैट बॉक्स के अंदर. व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन? लेट मी टेल यू माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, ये जो चेंज होता है हमारा लास्ट ईयर से या फिर पिछले एडिशन ऑफ द रिपोर्ट से इस एडिशन के अंदर, जो ये हाईलाइटेड पॉइंट्स होते हैं जो हमारे न्यूज रिसोर्सेज के अंदर देखे जाते हैं, दे आर रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी कवर्ड फ्रॉम द एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. सो यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन का सही आंसर है दैट इट इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 47.3 to 52.5, and that is the right answer. So here you can see in 2013 it was 47.3 and it increased to 52.5% here. जब हम बात करते हैं children's की, they are increasingly contributing to the growing population of extreme poverty worldwide, as they are living below the $2.15, that is 178.38 international poverty line. तो यहाँ पर सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज इंटरनेशनल पॉवर्टी लाइन की जो डेफिनेशन है एज पर दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट वो क्या है, दैट इज रुपीज 178.38, एंड दैट इज, अगर हम बात करते हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे, इट इज $2.15. ओके, आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू. जब हम बात करते हैं 2022 की, तो कितने परसेंटेज ऑफ चिल्ड्रन थे जो एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी के अंदर थे, कितने परसेंटेज एडल्ट्स एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी के अंदर थे, ये डेटा हमें पक्का पता होना चाहिए, हमें अच्छे से याद रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि यू कैन ऑल्सो यूज सच काइंड ऑफ डेटा इन द डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर्स एज वेल इन द मेंस एग्जाम. ओके, so 15.9% children were there living in the extreme poverty, and 6.6% of the adults are living in the extreme poverty in year 2022, and that is absolutely right. I can see all the people have given me the right answer to this question. Rohit, Preeti, Jeevan, Nilesh, well done guys. Let's move on to the next question. तो अगला क्वेश्चन आप सभी के सामने है. यू हैव टू टेल मी द नेम ऑफ दैट रीजन विच हैज द वर्ल्ड्स हाईएस्ट रेट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन लिविंग इन द पॉवर्टी, जहां पर सबसे ज्यादा रेट है उन चिल्ड्रन का हु आर लिविंग इन द पॉवर्टी. दैट इज व्हाट द क्वेश्चन इज. काइंडली गो थ्रू द ऑप्शंस हियर एंड टेल मी व्हाट इज द राइट आंसर. इट्स ईस्टर्न यूरोप, साउथ एशिया, सब सहारन अफ्रीका, मिडिल ईस्ट और द सेंट्रल अमेरिका. क्या है इस क्वेश्चन का सही आंसर? जल्दी से बताइए मुझे चैट बॉक्स के अंदर. लेट मी सी हु विल टेल मी द राइट आंसर इन द क्विकेस्ट मैनर. सबसे पहले आंसर कौन देता है? एंड हियर Sorima Sridevi has given me the answer सबसे पहले, and here the right answer is absolutely Sub-Saharan Africa. Option C is the right answer. Apart from that, Preeti, Prashant, Anuja have also given me the right answer. So हम यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं, अगर हम बात करते हैं इस क्वेश्चन की, तो सबसे ज्यादा रेट कहाँ पर है? सब सहारन अफ्रीका के अंदर है, एंड दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट. ठीक है, एंड व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर पार्ट माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, यू कैन सी हियर सब सहारन अफ्रीका के अंदर the rate is at 40%, which is really very high. साउथ एशिया की हम बात करते हैं तो the rate is 9.7%. सब सारन अफ्रीका और साउथ एशिया दोनों को अगर हम मिला दें तो they account for 90% of the extreme poor children in the whole world. And you can see here that this kind of alarming situation is emerging in these two regions, that is sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Okay, और जब हम बात करते हैं कि other estimates की अगर हम बात करें तो in 2022 333 million children were living in the extreme poverty. 829 million children were living below $3.65, and 1.43 billion children were living below $6.85. And these are the data that we have to remember, my dear friends. और जब हम बात करते हैं कि ये जो extreme child poverty है, इसमें कितनी गिरावट आई है, कितना कमी हुई है, तो आप देख सकते हो कि it was 20.7% in 2013 and now it has reduced to 15.9% in year 2022. And that is, you can see here that how many people have been lifted, how many children have been lifted out of the extreme poverty. If this question being asked in the exam, the right answer will be 49.2 million children as per this particular report which has been released. जब हम बात करते हैं 2013 टू 2019 की, तो उतने लोग उतने चिल्ड्रन जिन्होंने एग्जिट किया है इस पॉवर्टी को, दैट इज 63.3 मिलियन. एंड व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट the children exiting extreme poverty between the 2013 and 2020, it was 29.2 million. Okay, so 2013 से 2019 के बीच में 63.3 मिलियन है, 2013 से 2020 के बीच में 29.2 मिलियन है, 2013 से 2022 के बीच में it is 49.2 million children who have been exited out of the extreme poverty. ओके, सो अगर हम बात करते हैं लार्जेस्ट रिडक्शन की, लार्जेस्ट रिडक्शन जो है चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी की वो कहां पर हुई है, दैट वाज देयर इन द ईस्ट एशिया एंड द पैसिफिक एंड साउथ एशिया. सो दीज आर द रीजन्स वेयर इट हैज बीन टेकन प्लेस. नाउ माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, we are on the last question of our today's session. I want all of you to tell me the right answer to this question. The question is on the same report, that is global trend in child monetary poverty according to the international poverty lines. तो यहां पर आपके सामने तीन स्टेटमेंट है और आपको आइडेंटिफाई करनी है करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. लेट मी सी हु विल टेल मी द राइट आंसर. द पहली स्टेटमेंट इज आस्किंग अबाउट द नंबर ऑफ चिल्ड्रन हु एग्जिटेड पॉवर्टी ड्यूरिंग 2013 to 19. 29.2 million children exited poverty between 2013 to 2020. चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी सिग्निफिकेंटली अगर हम बात करते हैं, जो सबसे ज्यादा लार्जेस्ट रिडक्शन थी वो कहां पर थी, ओनली इन साउथ एशिया. तो कौन सी स्टेटमेंट यहां पर करेक्ट है आपको बताना है चैट बॉक्स के अंदर. तो लेट मी टेल यू, वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड दिस काइंड ऑफ डेटा in the previous slide, and I want all of you to answer me the right answer in the chat box here. So I can see here, my dear friends, I want all of you to tell me the right answer in the chat box. So Nilesh is saying option D is the right answer. Rohit, Nilesh, Sri Devi are going with option D, and Preeti is going with the option B. Prashant is going with the option A. So there is a lot of confusion here, guys. The right answer here is option D, that is both 1 and 2 are correct. But what is exactly the incorrect part in the third statement? It says that only in the South Asia this particular kind of thing was there. But no, my dear friends, let me tell you that it was in the East Asia, in the Pacific and the South Asia. In all these particular regions, there was the largest reduction which was being seen, and that is why the statement 3 was absolutely incorrect as per this particular report. और जब हम बात करते हैं सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज की, मैं आपको बता दूं कि इंडिया का डेटा इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. तो इंडिया की डेटा की अगर हम बात करते हैं, तो द परसेंटेज ऑफ चिल्ड्रन who lived in extremely poor households, they were 11.5%, that is 52 million children, which also shows that really the situation is worse in India as well. Poverty rate की अगर हम बात करते हैं, तो it was highest in the age group of 0 to 5 year age group. और यहाँ पर इंडिया के अगर हम बात करते हैं परसेंटेज की, तो कितने ऐसे लोग थे, 99 मिलियन चिल्ड्रन. यू कैन सी हियर दे आर जस्ट क्लोज टू 100 मिलियन. 18.3% of these children of the 0 to 5 year age group are basically there in that. And when I talk about the average poverty gap for children under 18, that is below $2.15 line, they are 5.1%, and exceeding that of adults, that is just 1.9%. So my dear friend, that was all from the today's session. And today in this session, let me tell you that we have covered all the most important reports that have been released in the month of September 2023. तो September 2023 की most important reports, today is the 25th September. तो आज तक जो भी important reports आई हैं, हमने उस सभी को अच्छे से डिस्कस किया है, डिटेल में डिस्कस किया है. एंड आई बिलीव कि आप सभी को आज का सेशन काफी फ्रूटफुल लगा होगा. एंड इफ यू वांट टू एक्सेस द पीडीएफ ऑफ द सेशन, you can join our Telegram channel, the link to which you can see in the description of the session. And this particular PDF will also be uploaded to the Telegram channel as well. And my dear friends, a small request to all of you, if you are new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. I hope this is clear to all of you, and I really believe कि जो आज का सेशन था आप सभी को काफी पसंद आया होगा. And you can also mention your feedback as well in the session. The kind of questions, the level of question that we have asked in this session, they were basically as per the changing trends of the exams, and you should be updated as well for the preparation as well, because you have to be in the final list of the NABARD grade exam, and we want to make sure that yes, we will take you there in the final list, but yes, some kind of effort we also want from your end as well for the same. And I can see here, my dear friends, now it's the time. You guys please tell me what exactly your scores are out of 30 in this particular session. Let's see and analyze that what exactly is the level of preparation that you are having, what are your weak areas and what are your strong areas, because we have to convert our weak areas into the strong areas before the exam, so that we can find our name in the list of the final list of NABARD grade officer exams. Okay, so my dear friends, if still you are having any kind of query in this particular session, you can just comment your queries in the comment section as well. You can also share your queries on the hello@edutap.co.in. Let me write it here. hello@edutap.co.in is the email ID on which you can share your queries, and you can also call us at 814-620-7241. So my dear friends, I believe that today's session was really useful and fruitful to all of you, and this is the time of the queries. If you are having any kind of query, my dear friends, please let me know in the chat box, and I will really be very happy to answer your queries. And after that we can conclude this particular session, because I don't want that you guys should waste any single minute here and there. Just try to invest your time very wisely, because this is the high time that you should choose your time wisely. You should invest your time wisely, because there is a lot of syllabus and you are really required to cover a lot of things for the NABARD grade prelims exam. So my dear friends, if there are no more queries, you can just type yes that there are no more queries, and we will be closing this particular session. We will be concluding this particular session. So Preeti Maurya, we have noted down your request, and you can also share your query on the hello@edutap.co.in, and we will definitely try to come up with your request, and our team will definitely be come in touch with you for the same. Okay. So I'm waiting for your queries in the chat box. If there are any more queries, my dear friends, please tell me in the chat box. And otherwise, if you are seeing the recorded part of this particular session, if you are seeing the queries after the end of the session, then my dear friends, you can also mention your queries in the comment section of that part. So animal rights, let me tell you that ESI static is also very important. Last year, the weightage of the ESI static was although less, but we do not know, we can't say about that कि कभी भी जो वेटेज है किसी चीज की बढ़ सकती है और कम हो सकती है, but we have to be prepared for all the kind of situations in the exam, and that is why yes, I will definitely tell you that अगर करंट अफेयर्स आपने नहीं पढ़ा है तो प्लीज प्रायोरिटी के ऊपर करंट अफेयर्स को अच्छे से कवर कीजिए, and after that you can cover the ESI static portion as well. Okay, so animal rights, I hope that I have answered your query. So I can see here that there are no more queries in the comment section, in the chat box as well. So my dear friends, as there are no more queries in the chat box, so I think we are good to conclude this particular session. So my dear friends, we will be meeting you in the next session. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Wish you all the best for the exams, and wish you all happy learning.